When you hear Kerala, what comes to your mind? Kathakali, Ayurveda, spices, or the beautiful backwaters? But very few people know that between the 14th and 16th century, Kerala also became home to one of the greatest mathematical schools in human history. A school of scholars that developed ideas that look remarkably like modern calculus, centuries before Isaac Newton or Gottfried Leibniz were even born. Isn't it strange that most historical accounts suggest that the golden age of Indian mathematics ended with Bhaskaracharya in the 12th century? However, mathematics continued flourishing in South India along the banks of River Nila. Let me take you through this beautiful journey of Guru Shishya Parampara, the legendary scholars from Kerala School of Mathematics and Astronomy, from my own hometown. The story of advanced mathematics in India was not a sudden breakthrough from an extraordinary genius. It was built from generation to generation with mathematical tinkering. Now, historians have been able to gather from the manuscripts that advanced mathematics originated from Aryabhatta right in the 5th century. There were other scholars like Brahmagupta, Varamira, Bhaskaracharya, Bhaskara I, Mahaviracharya and all who did contribute to the foundational blocks of mathematics. Now, the advanced mathematics which developed in Kerala between the 14th and 17th century was kind of a mathematical renaissance. Answer is simple: necessity. Medieval Kerala was just not a place of priests, temples, and ritual learning. This was a period where astronomy mattered deeply. Calendars have to be studied, eclipses have to be predicted, the planetary positions have to be corrected. So, this led to a mathematical culture. And in the center of all this was a Kerala school, which followed the Aryabhatta school of astronomy. Now, here they just didn't copy the ancient text. They questioned and corrected. They had written proofs for the mathematical formulas. Now, at the center of this revolution was a mysterious figure, Madhava of Sangamagrama. Madhava and his followers discovered some of the deepest ideas in mathematics, and in doing so, they developed world's first systematic approach to handling quantities which lie at the heart of calculus. Curiously, none of the work of Madhava survived. So, whatever works of Madhava we come to know from his successors and students, especially Nilakanta Somyaji's Tantra Sangraha and Jyeṣṭhadeva's Yukti-Bhāṣā. Kerala school laid special emphasis on trigonometry, in fact, spherical trigonometry. Why? Because their world was shaped by two spheres. The first was Earth, which was essential to understand navigation, surveying, and map making. The second was the celestial spheres, the celestial dome, where sun, planet, and everything appear to move. To predict eclipses, to understand calendar, to calculate ritual timings, and to calculate the planetary positions, they needed trigonometric values with accurate precision. This led to the development of approximation techniques and infinite series. Now, one thing was very different. This was not maths born of anything else, but a math which was born to cater to the real life problems. Madhava's great leap was he asked this question: can an infinite sum give you an exact answer? Imagine you're trying to measure a beautifully curved, winding road, but you only have a stiff, straight ruler. If you lay that ruler across the whole curve in one go, your measurement is completely wrong. It's too short. But what if you break that curve into smaller pieces? Each time your tiny straight line hug the true curve tighter and tighter. What happens if you keep doing this infinitely many times? If the segment becomes so unimaginably small that they are almost zero but not quite, you get the exact perfect length of the curve. In modern textbooks, we call this integral calculus. But in 15th century Malayalam texts, they called this method of direct rectification using geometrical approach. And to describe a quantity that approaches zero but never quite hits it, they coined a beautiful word, Sunyaprayam. It is a remarkable, elegant way of expressing the modern mathematical concept of infinitesimal quantity. For a long time was a common claim in histories of mathematics where Indian mathematicians were only interested in writing the text or the answers. They were not interested in proof. Now, Yukti-Bhāṣā changed that assumption. Written by Jyeṣṭhadeva in Malayalam, Yukti-Bhāṣā is a work that contains proofs and derivations, which was unusual for many Indian mathematical texts. The word Yukti itself means reasoning, rational, or logical explanation. This is the text where much of Madhava's mathematics was carefully preserved for posterity. Let us take another example from this book, The Art of Correction. If you see the pi series of Madhava, it converges incredibly slowly. So just get 5 correct decimal places, you have to add up nearly 100,000 terms. How did Madhava calculate the value of pi correctly to 11 decimal places? He did by analyzing the error. Madhava realized that if you stop summing the series at some term n, the error you leave behind is not random. It follows a mathematical pattern. So he set out to find a correction term, a function fn, that would compensate for the remaining infinite terms. So if you stop at n, the simplest correction term is this heads. But Madhava wanted more precision. He refined the error term recursively, deriving a much more powerful correction. And then his ultimate correction term, which can be expressed as Fn. Each correction brings you closer to the true answer. This repeated recursive process, they termed it as samskaram. In modern language, they were thinking about numerical accuracy and convergence. The first reason was the medium in which the knowledge was shared. Now, this were written in local Malayalam as well as Sanskrit verses on fragile palms, which was not easy to distribute, unlike the Europe's printing press. The second reason could be the Guru Shishya Parampara, where knowledge was transmitted from the teacher to the student or successor. Now, the third reason was the absolute apathy of the global community. Now, in 1834, George Wyche, this is a legendary scholar who was working with the Royal Asiatic Society. Now, he learned Sanskrit, Tamil, Malayalam, and he had been able to transcribe or convert most of this work and publish. Charles Wyche became the first to bring the achievements of the Kerala school to Western scholarship. He explicitly stated that they had laid the foundation for calculus. He personally collected the palm leaf manuscripts. 2 surviving manuscripts of the Yukti-Bhāṣā, the very texts which we have been discussing, are preserved today in the collection, which deposited at the Royal Asiatic Society in London. Yet, his groundbreaking paper was completely ignored by mainstream historians of mathematics for more than a century. The final reason was the colonization. Now, British had established their rule in India, and somehow the Indian education knowledge system was completely erased, and we followed the Western education. So whatever was remaining was totally forgotten. So sometimes history isn't lost because the evidence disappears. Sometimes it's lost simply because the world refuses to look. In almost every math class that I teach, students frequently ask me this particular question. Why are you doing this particular topic in mathematics? What is the relevance? Now, the Kerala school had a very good answer to this particular question. They didn't do maths just as some formulas to be written in a notebook. They were solving practical real-life problems. The approximation techniques and the knowledge of infinite series was based on observation. Mathematics was done as a way of observing the nature, of pattern recognition. We should reduce this to a debate where we are trying to understand Kerala mathematicians are better than the European mathematicians. Newton and Gottfried Leibniz did amazing work. They had discovered their own notation for calculus. So the whole point of asking this question over here is, why was the Kerala mathematics ignored? Why are we not sharing the complete story of mathematics? Mathematics is not restricted to certain civilization. It's a global human journey. The story needs to be told. If you're interested to know more, you can have a look at this video on Madhava of Sangamagrama. If you have any questions, please write in the comments below. That's all for me. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.